They're gonna come.
Alright, what if the United States is not a leader in a certain technology and even a lag behind most countries? This technology is called high-speed rail, and it is crucial to development and environmental impact. I think everybody should know about this technology and why it should be funded, and it will show economic and environmental benefits. I chose this topic because I think shorter and cheaper, along with less environmental impact, damaging travel via mass transit, changed other countries.
What?
Homework.
Compiled sources from CityLab, UC Berkeley, and the Department of Transportation. I'll be telling you about the history of trains and railways in the United States, high-speed rail in Asia, high-speed rail in Europe, and potential benefits of a U.S. system. Now let's move on to my first point, the history of trains in the United States.
Yes.
Let's hear it. Alright. Started with the implementation of trains in Britain, and America was paying close attention to this. Main reason for first implementation was for cities without canals to be able to compete economically with cities that had canals, such as Baltimore versus New York City.
The Irish built the railways.
Baltimore and Ohio Railway started construction in 1827, and the service started on May 24th, 1830. It began a rush of short-length, mainly freight-focused lines. It could be used for passengers, but this was rare. All development was focused on the East Coast.
I stand with Hong Kong.
First transcontinental or across-continent railroad was built from existing most western points of rails in Iowa to Northern California. Built collectively by three companies through U.S. lands, grants, and subsidies. Western Pacific Railroad Company built 132 miles from Alameda to Sacramento. Central Pacific Railroad Company of California built 690 miles of track from Sacramento to Promontory Summit, Utah. Union Pacific built 1,085 miles of track from Omaha to Promontory Summit. Golden Spike was tapped in Promontory Summit, Utah, and the railroad opened on May 10, 1869. Accelerated settlement and economy of the West, along with transporting goods and people, was cheaper, safer, and more efficient. Talk about the history of U.S. rails. Now let's talk about high-speed rail in Asia.
Yes. What is high-speed rail, dude?
Woo! Okay, glad you asked. High-speed rail refers to trains that move really fast at speeds higher than 100 miles an hour.
Is that possible?
It's possible, dude. It's wild. Japan was the first major country to develop a high-speed rail system called Shinkansen. Able to go over 199 miles an hour. The Japan railway system covers the entire country.
That's fast.
Fast. Over 50 years of the history, there's been no fatalities or accidents, with 5.3 billion passengers.
No. Damn.
Over 1,700 miles of track that carries trains at up to 150 to 200 miles an hour. 175 miles of track that can carry trains at up to 80. This collective system produces only 16% of carbon dioxide, the equivalent journey of cars, saving 15,000 tons of carbon dioxide a year.
Wow.
Wow. Said to have modernized the Japanese economy. No. Same things last year. Represents a single. Okay. It's high-speed rail in China now. This represents the single largest system of high-speed rails in the world, along with the most used. It stands at 18,000 miles of track, near 10 times that of Japan, and it's scheduled to reach 24,000 miles by 2025.
Those off the backs of slaves.
Slaves, probably. You're right. Reaches similar high speeds at 155 to 217 miles an hour. Accounts for 2/3 of high-speed rail in the world. Beijing to Guangzhou line alone is 1,400 miles and is nearly as large as Japan's entire system. Alright.
Is it usable?
It is usable. It's pretty usable. I've talked about high-speed rail in Asia. Now let's talk about high-speed rail in Europe and environmental impact of high-speed rail. High-speed rail in Spain is known as AVE, an acronym and play on Spanish word for bird.
Que rápido!
Rapido. Look at that in Spanish. Second largest high-speed rail system in the world, and it has 2,010 miles of track.
Que grande!
Runs at a max of 193 miles an hour, and it cuts a 6-hour drive from Barcelona to Madrid to 2.5 hours. And it is a 386 mile, a little bit.
You're so fucking crazy, dude.
Halfway through this, I don't want to do this again. Cuts travel across Europe as well, and is cheaper and a less hard journey. Okay, there's a proposed high-speed rail system in California that would run from Sacramento and San Francisco to past Los Angeles all the way to San Diego. This entails 800 miles of track and is small in comparison to other systems in the world, but only covers one state versus an entire country. Would reduce greenhouse gas emissions such as carbon dioxide by 12 billion pounds a year, use a third of energy of travel compared to planes and a fifth of energy used by cars, and reduce foreign oil dependence by 12.7 million barrels a year. Would also add 100,000 construction jobs and an estimated 450,000 more in economic growth. We've talked about European systems, now let's talk about what it could mean for the United States. Okay, talked about the various forms of high-speed rail throughout the world. This includes high-speed rail in Asia and Europe and potentially in the United States and the impacts of high-speed rail. System obviously has a lot of potential in the United States and could lead to other economic steps forward for the nation. Hope that this informed you enough to think that this system is beneficial for the country.